What's up, everybody? Circus here coming at you with this week's Rye Report. Why for the Rye?
Because KC Cup is BS and KCGT is just as BS. So,
Yeah, we should
we're
almost
going to
do a
talk about
video
the
on why we're underwhelmed by the KCGT or the KC Cup every week or every 3
Listen.
months or whatever it is. But we're
Please
going to
make it
talk about the
competitive.
meta instead. How about that?
Let's do that. The meta has changed a lot since we made a Rye Report last
I
time. I don't
don't
remember what we talked
believe
about.
you, sir. Right now, Harpies, the Water Deck, Onomass, these are the kings of the meta right now, right?
And RDA. What
Red
the newest
Dragon,
kid on the block?
Ayaya,
Red Resonator. Yeah.
RRA.
Yeah, RRA. No, it's funny enough. This is like probably the most healthy meta we've had since forever. Like we entered the Dark Lord and the E-Saber metas, then we went into Witchcrafters and like all these oppressive decks. This is the first meta ever since like when Shiranui was on top, where it was like scuffed Shiranui and then a bunch of rogue decks
Right.
that we've had that's been like a balanced meta game. Is it a fun meta game? That's up to the individual people to decide, but
More balanced, yeah.
it is balanced though, because right now what we're seeing is last week we saw number one power rankings was RDA, like by a
Right.
landslide,
Yeah.
right? This week, I don't think RDA has won a single community tournament.
People are
It's
figuring it
been
out, yeah.
it's not so much that they're figuring out. It's more that people started playing a bunch of back row decks. People have dropped Fire Kings in favor
Hmm.
of Water, in favor of Yosinju. A lot of people have tried Shiranui, but I can tell you guys right now, Shiranui is not a real competitive deck
But
for
it,
community
it won the
tournaments.
Meta Weekly or something like that, right?
With no side deck, baby. Oh,
Yeah,
what a
exactly.
meme. Yeah, we had our $250 tournament right after MCS that did have side deck. There was like there was like I think Shiranui was like the third most entered deck or something.
Hmm.
Like over 20 entries, 23 entries, something like that. One topped.
Okay.
And today there was like another 16 that entered for a $75 tournament and zero topped.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's not
so
a good
people
deck.
yeah, people are
Uh,
figuring it out.
the Shiranui itself isn't even good. It's just literally there was so many resonators, and resonator dies hard to back row.
Hmm.
Um, and that's why in the GG Tour tournament, which is the most competitive community tournament they had with a side deck this week, that one was decided by a Harpy player. A Harpy player went completely undefeated and won that tournament because it was just a bunch of back row decks. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this meta is literally just, oh my goodness, RDA is the best deck. Oh, here we go. Back row decks, Water, Shiranui, all these other decks that play heavy back row. Now they're the best deck. Oh crap, here comes Harpies. Now they're the best deck. Oh my goodness, Onomats are now here to
Right.
destroy Harpies. Now they're the best deck. Oh my god, RDA just came out of nowhere and took out Onomats.
It's a very
Just a
large
giant
triangle,
circle.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the rock,
Just
paper,
yeah.
scissors kind of meta.
It pretty much it's just RDA is able to stop the OTK. The OTK is able to stop the Harpy ladies. The Harpy ladies can stop the control. The control can stop the RDA.
Right, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's the way it should be though. So
that's how it should be in my
so it's
opinion. Yeah,
always evolving and different things are happening and stuff. Like you were saying, we
yeah.
just came out a super oppressive meta where it was just
Mm.
it was Blue Eyes at first, then Dark Lords really caught on. People like more people got Dark Lords, and then it was just that Dark Lord stick and chair thing everywhere, and then
Yeah,
that
that was
finally
not
that
good.
got taken out. And then people are like Harpies. Oh my God, Harpies need a nerf. That needs a limit too right now. But now here we
I
are,
think you were
like
the one that were talking to me. Like you were trying to hit Harpy, like Cog with Harpies, and it was like kind of a struggle a little bit. Like it's sometimes it's a struggle. Like the deck
right
really,
in the beginning,
really needs a
yeah.
side deck. Yeah. So I
No,
don't
I
know.
don't think
It's
it's
just
super overpowered. I don't even think it needs a limit too, to be honest.
no,
A
absolutely
lot of
not.
people don't want it to have Tretch, but it's not so bad.
I mean, to be honest, though, Tretch wouldn't even be in the metagame if Konami would just stop nerfing the game, right? Like, for example, Tretch only came. Why did Tretch come in? Let's analyze why Tretch came in. Tretch was not being played, and Karma Cut was being played because you had to deal with the Noble Knights. You had to deal with the Desperado. These are decks you do not want to TTH because if you do, you lose. You
Right.
try to destroy Arcturus, he summons. Assuming you can even get past Dristan and Destiny, you lose. If you TTH a dark machine monster, Desperado comes out, you lose.
Right.
you know?
Yep.
So you had all these big threats you had to karma cut. If the meta continues to increase in power level, simply TTHing your opponent will not win you the game anymore. Thus, TTH is pushed out of the metagame. For more discard heavy like Karma Cut, which actually has a cost to it. So it's more
Right.
preferred that we have
TTH
something like that.
punishes decks that have no comeback or whatever.
Pretty
You know what I
much,
mean?
no
Like you
extenders or
yeah,
anything.
you just destroy two monsters. Like I don't know what to do now.
Yeah. So, like if we just continue at this power level, yeah, of course you're eventually gonna have to slap all these decks with limit twos because the card is dumb. Or we can just completely power creep the card and then it's all good at that point.
I think we're going in the right direction where we keep power creeping. I'm trying to think. There hasn't been a lot of decks that got nerfs. Some that were like automats. Maybe the Hatronade thing was getting a
Yeah.
little out of control. But like if Hatronade wasn't in the game, there would be no reason to limit to that thing, right?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Like it wouldn't have ever received a limit two if True Nade
Right.
wasn't in the game. And it's one of those things where it's like people are like, oh, you need Hey True Nade to deal with all these back row decks, but the deck with the best success versus back row decks is Harpies, and they're not using Hey True Nade; they're just using Harpies Hunting Ground. Just
Right.
Harpies Hunting Ground, slam your face into them until they run out of trap cards. Pretty
Right.
much, that's been the name of the game for Harpies, and continues to be the name of the game for the Harpies. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a meta where literally every week you guys are going to get a new like winner of the power rankings. Because I mean, I'm thinking of all the tournament. I mean, we had Sidra win, we had Harpies win, we had Waters win this week. RDA hasn't won a tournament yet, so I highly doubt we're gonna have decks. I think it's gone enough to get the power rankings, but I don't think it's gonna win rank one or
Right.
anything. In reality, everything is in the same tier, in my opinion. Nothing is really better than the rest. The only thing you can say is maybe RDA has a slight advantage because the skill is just insane. Lets you add
Mhm.
whatever fiend monster. And when you actually look at their decks, they have like 20 different ways to play, where Harpies have like two different ways to play.
Right.
Automats have one. Water deck is just Necro Valley, the deck. The rest of it doesn't really matter. It's
Right.
just if you get Necro Valley or don't, the rest is like whatever. Um, and then
But
when you look at RDA, they're like, oh, I'm playing RDA Obelisk, RDA Caius, RDA Double Doom Caliber. They're actually playing different cards in their decks.
I just want to go back to the point where we were talking about, harpies and back row, and they used harpies hunting ground, to
Yeah.
deal with that. But I like it when decks are kind of forced to come up with solutions like that. For a while, they were
Yes.
playing Forbidden Lance. They had the Swallow's
Mhm.
Nest. I like when decks have to get creative, not just hey True Nade or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They really got to think how can I
I'm
incorporate something into my deck that's going to synergize,
mhm.
and allow me to
Yeah.
play the game.
I'm not a fan of TrueNade. My biggest thing I talk about on stream all the time, I don't like TrueNade because it causes new decks that come out to lose their limit too, right? Like
Right.
Konami says, "Oh, you can't use this card, so you gotta like lose it," and then the deck basically dies because it doesn't have like a built-in method of dealing with macro. But like that's the beauty of like an evolving metagame. Your deck, if you're an RDA player, for example, and you lose heavily to back row, well, if just a bunch of people start entering with Harpies again, which it's pretty much been the most represented deck, the back row decks are going to start dwindling because they don't want to deal with Harpies.
Right.
So you're going to start winning more games naturally. Thus starts the healthy meta at that
I love
point.
it. And you were bringing
And
up,
it's
how the decks are using, like a lot of people say, oh, this deck is skill reliant, but that's what's
mhm.
awesome about Duel Links, right? We want more
Yeah.
of that. That's what makes the decks fun. It makes them
Yeah, if,
work.
if if you took away skills, literally every single deck in the metagame would die except like Harpy Lady. So, and that just wouldn't be
I
fun,
think we
in
need
my
more of
opinion.
them. I think it's cool that the
I think
decks
so
are
too.
built around
Yeah.
skills. I mean, otherwise you're just that's what makes Duel Links special, right?
Otherwise, you're just playing discount TCG, and it's like, why not just go play TCG at that
Right.
point? Because they have more cards, so why not go play them? No, I think this meta is super good. I think it's super healthy. I hope that I really hope that the upcoming ban list is a very light ban list because I feel like this upcoming ban list will have no nerfs for meta related purposes. They will all be monetary purposes for Konami.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to be all you old decks, time for you to stop being played. We need to make some money here.
Right.
I don't think that anything needs to be hit from a competitive standpoint. I think if they do make any bans, it's going to be towards, just older decks to make more money off the game.
I always like it when they do those obscure skill nerfs or buffs, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, even I didn't even know the skill was in the game, but
Yeah.
then they strengthen it and people still don't play it.
Yeah,
So
they're just
maybe
like,
it's just
"Oh."
something like that. That's all we really need. I think the game is in
I
such a
hope
good
so.
spot right now. The only thing I think that just needs to go is the ones on the screen right now is Cyber Dragons. It's just, come on, we've been there.
They just wanted it. They wanted Ace Tournament, dude.
Yeah, we've done that. We know what it does. All right, can we
Oh
just
man.
move on here? Can we
Whenever
just move on?
it's to the point where whenever Cyber Dragon wins in a single turn, it really does feel like he just pulled it out of his ass. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because they can only play one cybernetic. Okay, today's finals. Spoilers for anyone that has not watched the finals yet, and you want to watch the finals. They are worth watching. Let me tell you, my man had played his Cyber Dragon core, which got negated, but he already had everything he needed in hand anyway, and then OTK'd his opponent. He had
Right. How is that
the
even
overflow.
possible?
He had the gate, or not the overflow. The cybernetic fusion spore. He had the fusion. He had the fusion gate, and he went for lethal. And I was like, then why did you even bother summoning core in the first place?
Right.
Just go for the game at that point.
They only run 3 monsters, right? It's the 3 core and then everything else spells.
Just 4. They run the 3 core and then the 1 OG Cyber Dragon. Sometimes 2, but mostly 1.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny. 4 monsters because your skill.
Right.
It sucks too because I play Cyber Dragon and YGO Omega from time to time, like in the TCG mode.
Yeah.
And it is not even close to how Duel Links is. It's like a control deck, more like the old Six Samurai rather than
okay.
like an OTK deck. So it's funny whenever I
It's
see it.
completely different here. So
Yeah, they come totally different.
well, no, I'm pretty excited about this meta. I just hope it continues along this path, and I hope they're just careful with what they introduce, and I hope it's just like we said, more like anime-based decks like this
Yeah.
that are just kind of fun, that aren't overpowering. I would love to see Noble Knights come back. I know the balance made it busted, but I'd like to see them introduce some kind of skill to bring it back or something, because it's
That'd be cool.
Noble
But,
Knights
I mean,
didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do
I
anything
don't.
wrong.
I think.
you know?
I think though those skills are gonna be like anime only.
Yeah, I
You know
know,
what I mean?
but they need something. Nothing on Noble Knights got hit. The only thing that got hit was the skill. So like
Yeah.
all the cards are still, good.
Well,
there's no limits.
they could easily release the Tinky, right, of Noble Knights, not
Mm-hmm.
Heritage because that's too strong, but the actual Rhoda to just boost all warrior archetypes.
Oh, okay.
If they really wanted to, they could release Heritage, and then we'd go back to a tier 0 Noble Knight meta. But I don't think anybody wants that.
Nah,
So,
we just gotta get a little bit more consistent, just so it can play. Just so it can play.
yeah, just so it can play. That's all we need.
It was a fun deck to play. It really was.
Your hand is guaranteed at least 1 monster, 1 equip. There you go. And you're
Oh
done.
god, yeah. But it's always gonna be brothers.
It's always gonna be brothers. Yeah,
Your starting hand will always have brothers.
Yeah, brothers and Gallatin. That'll be your starting hand every time.
All right, guys, let us know what you think about the meta in the comments below. And what deck would you like to see come back? And be realistic about it. And don't say, wouldn't X deck be broken if they introduced X card to the game? Just, what would you like to see get nerfed or come back a little bit and join the meta again? I miss Noble Knights. I do. Rye got me into them, and they're a lot of fun. So,
They are fun.
all right, make sure to get in the Discord because it's free. The tournaments are free. The new player help is free. And let's free Noble Knights. How about that?
I agree. Let's
All
free
right.
Noble Knights. Down with Cyber Dragon.
We're going to get out here. I'm Circus. That's Rye.
Farewell.
And we'll see you next time.